Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone for coming to the board meeting tonight, and I would like to call this meeting to order. First, I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda. Second.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Lepine,
Yes.
Commissioner Lindsey,
Yes.
Commissioner Mobley,
Yes.
motion passed.
Okay. The motion has been seconded and approved. It was a public hearing regarding the general fund and Lwcf enterprise budget for the fiscal year 2022 through 2023. Are there any public input for this?
No, ma'am, no one signed up.
Okay. We continue. I need a motion to approve the minutes from the regular board meeting, May 16th, 2022, and the special call meeting, June 13th, 2022.
I'll make a motion.
That we accept the minutes for the regular board meeting for May 16th, 2022, and also the special call meeting, June 13th, 2022.
Second.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Lepine,
Yes.
Commissioner Lindsey.
Yes.
Commissioner Mobley,
Abstain.
3 yeas and 1 nay.
The majority has approved the minutes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. The motion to approve the minutes have been approved. We'd like to have public input at this time.
We have Ms. Barbara Roach. Next, we'll have Ms. Gloria Cannon, and then we'll have Mr. James Brown III.
Okay.
Good evening. Am I talking loud
evening.
enough? Good evening.
Good evening.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay,
You're gonna have to speak directly into the mic.
okay,
Not too loud.
You got
Thank
me.
you. Okay.
all right. I want to give a compliment. On June, around the 20th of June, we met with a group of your employees at the Meadow Lake Park, and we came to some understanding of some activities for the seniors, because Meadow Lake is no longer just a recreation facility for the young. Most of us have lived there since the 70s and so forth, so we need activities to keep us going. In attendance were Natasha Goodwin, LaDonta Lovett, Matt Parker, Kevin, Felicia, Venable, Commissioner Anderson, and we really appreciate him coming and being with us, and Connie Reeves. And we really came to some understandings, and some of the things we came up with was walking inside the gym, you know, trying to get a line dance class and some other things that keep us kind of going, because we're not a community of children anymore. And since I give that point, I'd like to make sure that when you do activities that are based at Meadow Lake, remember that Meadow Lake, the community of Meadow Lake, is mostly senior citizens, which means we need activities for senior citizens. And I'm not trying to be ugly by saying that we don't need all the stuff for little children, but that's just the nature of our community now. And the same thing with Summerhill and some of the other outlying communities. So we need things for seniors mostly, and then a few for maybe some grandchildren or something that live there. Some things that do need improvement are their whole I made a walk around the outside. Can I continue?
Go ahead.
Give me a few minutes. Okay, and also we need the tennis court repaved. the building has like a dingy appearance. The floors are not kept as clean as they used to be and so forth. So please help us with those cosmetic things. And a comment was made. I come to line dancing here at the adult center. And I asked one of the ladies why some of the flyers that the front desk are not at the other school, other places. And especially with Meadow Lake, since we're older, the persons don't come into the building a whole lot. And the comment was, they should, and they should, and they should look at Facebook, and they should. But remember, we are an older community. A lot of our folks do not use Facebook. In fact, you can probably count 600 homes out there, and I bet probably 10 of them on Facebook. So you have to reach them another way. So, and then I don't like the comment that you make, they. They is not a noun. It's not the way you should refer to people who are really your customers. I want to thank the group for coming. Most of them are here today. We really had a good meeting, and we look forward to a new beginning.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. We now have sheets, input sheets for people who come up and speak. And your questions should be referred to the party that's responsible for putting the, checking on the holes in the road and the tennis court. So,
And the flyers. Making sure flyers get put out there.
okay, and the flyers. So everyone, everything should be, and you should be contacted once the situation is approved, okay? Thank you again. Next person, Ms. Cannon, Gloria Cannon. I'm sorry. Okay. No, you need to come to the microphone, please, so we can hear you.
Okay, my biggest concern is
Excuse me, speaking to microphone, please.
okay,
Thank you.
my name's Gloria Cannon, and my biggest concern is the paving of the roads, which Ms. Roach just talked about, and also the status of the inside of the building at Meadow Lake Park. Number one, the blinds need to be replaced. The chairs that the workers sit in need to be replaced. And also there are spots in the ceiling in the gym. And these things need to be taken care of. And also the tennis courts. I think she mentioned the tennis courts. And these are things that's been lacking for years. And I think now is the time that we need to take care of these things because they are being taken care of other parts. Because I've gone to Polo Road Park. And it's nice out there. And I've looked at the conditions of the park and the ball field, and it's totally different from Meadow Lake Park.
Okay.
And I don't want Meadow Lake Park to be neglected because when I moved into the subdivision, you know, that part was nice. But now it's really deteriorating because nothing's being done, you know, the upkeep of the park. So that's my concern.
Thank
Okay.
you. We approved that a new ceiling be put on Meadow Lake Park. I don't know if that's been completed yet or not.
Has it been?
It's a roof too. We approved a roof, a brand new roof to be put on.
Right, for Meadow Lake.
Right. So we have to make sure.
Right. So we're
Okay, my
checking on.
concern also, getting back to that, these things are being approved, but
Mhm.
they're not being taken care of.
It will be
You
taken
know,
care
it may
of.
be
Thank
2 or
you.
3 years down the
Trust me.
road before it happens, you
It
know.
will be taken care of.
Okay.
And then we'll refer you the tennis courts and the blinds and the chairs. The
Okay,
person over that facility is here, so she should be taking care of that, and we'll get back with you. We have
okay.
your name and your phone number, okay?
Okay, yes, I left it.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. James Brown?
Good evening, Commissioners.
Evening.
My name is Mr. James Brown III, former Executive Director of Richland County Rcrc Commission. This is the first time I've had the opportunity to speak public about the situation, everything that's going on. I know I can't speak about the contract, so I'm not gonna speak about my contract, but I have a packet ready for the board.
Okay.
And I'll give you a packet as soon as I get through speaking. I didn't want to give you the package now because you might be distracted. I want you to hear some of the things I have to say. I'm here to make you aware of some of the misleading and false allegations that were brought against me when I was executive director. Ironically, it's strange that you have a young lady that say I sexually harassed her, not calling any names, but then was never used in a preliminary hearing against me or never brought to court as a witness against me. So what I'm simply saying to you is all this misleading information that's put out there, and of course I was acquitted of all charges from the governor, legislation delegation, FBI, SLED, Richland County Sheriff Department, Richland County Council, Chamber of Commerce. All these allegations, what did they find? To this day, nothing. During my tenure as executive director of the agency, we passed the National CAPRA accreditation. I understand the CAPRA is on hold now, and all the people that were responsible for getting the CAPRA no longer work here. During my time, we also successfully implemented a $50 million bond project. We opened many facilities and improved existing facilities. Many of these facilities appear to be closed now. We pass every financial audit each year and pass a special Richland County management audit.
You can continue.
The Richland County audit found no wrongdoing and complemented many of our policies and process. This was never reported to the media. During my tenure, we employed over 300 employees with a $16 million budget. I'm told the new administration has terminated most of these employees, and as a result, facilities are unkept and unstaffed. We stayed within the budget that was allocated to us by Richland County Council and some years of surplus. I understand from the minutes that the new administration is $4 million in the red, even though the budget is now $18 million by county council. We stayed within the budget while providing employees with competitive pay, benefits, and longevity pay. Longevity pay rewarded hardworking long-term employees. They count on this money. Now the staff tells me the new administration has taken longevity pay cut. It's no longer existed. Everything changed around 2016 when I learned the fact that some employees were stealing, never reported. This is all documented and available to the board if you need it. Everybody that testified against me and went against me were stealing. They formed a group to come together to destroy me along with the delegation and everybody else. So a lot of people in place told them, let the investigation take its place. I'm all right with that. Sit back and let the investigation take its place. But they couldn't do that. What they did, they went out and found some more people to come and testify against me that wasn't even involved in the situation at the beginning. And I know where it came from. It came from the FBI, so they went around intimidating people because that's what they did to me. So after false charges were made against me, I was indicted and I was sued personally. I was sued by attorneys who represent the commission. Now, only problem I have, and I received a letter from Mr. Dickey. Where's Mr. Dickey? Oh, how you doing? I received a letter from Mr. Dickey saying to me that send my documents to only him. I got a problem with that because, see, I work for a board and Mr. Dickey worked for a board. And see, Mr. Dickey sued me, but they told all the employees that worked here that sued Richland County could no longer work here. So if they can't no longer work here, how can Mr. Dickey work here? He sued me. And then this is the tough part about it. Not only did he sue me, but when he sued the HR director and the young man that was supervising the two people, God bless him, let him rest in peace, he passed, Mr. Chavez. But when he decided to sue us, the young man that worked under me were these two people, my young brother and the other guy that passed, rest in peace. he took the supervisor name off the lawsuit. Now, the supervisor supervised these two people. Why was his name taken off the lawsuit? His name was taken off the lawsuit because the attorney that was representing the young man that I terminated for stealing got with Mr. Dickey, and they took him off the lawsuit. Now, he was a supervisor. So you explain that to me. So I understand how this works. I work for the board. So my documents would come to the board. I don't have anything to hide. I'm gonna give him a copy of everything I'm giving you all. All this stuff that I retired. I was terminated. I got documents to prove it tonight. I got everything you need in this packet to make a decision on my livelihood. And the only thing I'm asking you to do is look at the paperwork, the documents that I'm providing, and make a decision. That's all I want. I'm not asking for nothing I didn't earn. I worked here for 35 years, never been written up. I'm 66 years old, never been in trouble a day in my life. Now, all of a sudden, I'm a bad guy because I caught them stealing and the media paid no attention, that they didn't want no parts of it. And I'm here to say to you today, and I know you recorded it, I got the documents to prove it. You got people still working here today was involved in this. All this was a political hit. It took 6 years of my life. I couldn't leave the state. They took my guns. They took my gun permit. They took my right to go see my son. They took everything from me for 6 years. I asked for a speedy trial. I know you knew about the corruption that went on down at the State House. Everybody down there got a speedy trial. Why couldn't I get a speedy trial? Some of you don't want to hear this because I'm black. That's all it was about. That's the only thing I'm guilty of is the color of my skin. Why did I have to wait 6 years? And what did they find? Nothing. I don't have a problem with this young man intervening with my contract because I know that's what he's for. But he's to intervene along with you. I'm not going to send him my documents only when I know the things that done hit the street about some of the things he said about me. I don't even know the brother. Never seen him a day in my life. But I'm no fool. I'm not going to just send my documents to him. I'm sending it to the board where it's supposed to be. The way it works, the delegation select you guys. The governor approve you. You're sworn in. And you're sworn in to do the job, and the job is to look at my contract along, and you bring him in when you have differences or we have a problem with my contract. That's where he come in at. See, when we were here, we had a board. Our labor attorney only came when he was called. Now, y'all do things a little different. I don't knock that. But I'm not supposed to give him just a copy of my contract. No, because I know how he feel about me. And it is a conflict of interest for him to rule on my contract when he sued me. And then the guy that was over the guys, he let him off. Why did he let him off? Because he was in cahoots with the other attorney, his buddy. I can't call his name, but he know who he is, like I know. And the only thing I'm not asking y'all to give me anything. I'm asking you to look at the documents. I worked here for 35 years, never been written up a day in my life, 66 years old, never been in trouble in my life. Worked my butt off to this agency, did everything, and everybody in here know that this was a great agency when I was here. You don't want to give me no credit. We didn't have no problem. We had people working. We got along like a family. We kept the place clean, and we came together as a family. Now to sit here and play this role and try to destroy me, and all it was a political hit. 6 years of my life that they put on hold for what? What did they find? I just told you who was involved. All those, how many people have ever been involved with FBI, slave? And what they found? Nothing. I sit and couldn't leave my house for 6 years. People looking at me, and you think this didn't hurt my family, my parents, my grandkids, my kid? And it hurt my marriage of 46 years. 46 years I was married. And I'm having problems now because of all the allegations they put out there. That I did this, I did that. And the young lady that started it all never showed up to a preliminary hearing. She never came to court. They didn't even use her against me.
I want to thank you, Mr. Brown, for your statements. And we
Like I
will,
said, I have a package for all of you.
yes, sir.
I appreciate you giving the opportunity to speak. First time I
Okay.
had the opportunity to speak in 7 years. Thank you. Mr.
And
Dickens,
our legal,
nice to meet you, brother.
our legal team will get back with you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
She had a minute. Ms. Marcy had a package.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we'll have the financial report from Ryan.
Good evening to Chair Lindsay, members of the Commission Board. I'd like to begin tonight by providing you with an update on the General and Enterprise Fund financials for the period July 1, 2021 through June 30, 2022. Total revenues for the general fund for the 11-month period were 16.9 million compared to 15.8 million around this time last year. Represents approximately $1 million increase in revenues, or 6.6% increase. Program revenue was a large driver for this increase. Additionally, administrative revenue was up due to an increase dollar value of our millage allocation in fiscal year 22. For program revenue, the categories where we saw the greatest increase in revenue were parks and rental revenue income. We saw a $141,000 increase. Recreational youth camp revenue, we saw a $165,000 increase. And athletic and recreational revenues were up $85,000. General fund expenditures for this period were 15.04 million compared to 15.18 million around this time last year. Represents approximately $137,000 decrease, or 0.9% decrease. Despite the overall decrease in expenditures, capital improvement expenditures and programming expenditures did increase from last year. Additionally, capital improvement expenditures exceeded the fiscal year 22 budget due to expenses related to fiscal year 21 capital projects that spilled over into the current fiscal year. The Friars Gate project specifically began in fiscal year 21, had a number of change orders that affected our fiscal year 22 budget. Additionally, costs for construction projects were impacted by COVID-19 and supply and labor shortages. I did provide Chair Lindsay with some transaction level detail. If you have any questions about that data, I'd be happy to provide you any backup data that's needed. The capital outlay line item was over budget due to the tennis center project not being included in the original budget. We did receive a special allocation during the fiscal year from the county. These were Rescue Act funds, and those were specifically allocated for this project. Finally, supply and program expenses did increase from this time last year. This was largely due to Rcrc returning to normal operations. COVID resulted in a reduction in program offerings, which resulted in decreased program and supply expenses in fiscal year 21. Additionally, we had an increase in ground maintenance and building supply expenses. All of these expense transactions are included in the packet that was provided to Chair Lindsay. Enterprise fund revenues for the current period were 1.1 million compared to 1 million this time last year. Represents approximately $52,000 increase from this time last year, or 5%. Membership revenue, program revenue, and enterprise revenues, pro shop sales and green fees are the largest driver for the increase. Total enterprise fund expenditures for this period were 1.2 million compared to 1.1 million around this time last year. Represents approximately $83,000 increase, or 7.4% increase. Capital outlay expenditures have increased from this time last year. This was largely due to the bunker repair project, which was a one-time expense to fix bunkers in preparation for the season. There was also a roof repair that was done at the clubhouse facility. Both of these line items exceeded budget. The bunker project exceeded budget at award, and there were multiple change orders to add additional feet of drainage lines, as well as to implement recommended changes to the shape of the bunkers. Additionally, costs for construction projects were impacted by COVID-19 and the supply and labor shortages. So with that said, the backup for those costs were provided in the packet to Chair Lindsay. I'm going to pause for a moment. Are there any questions?
Yes, miscellaneous expenses,
Yes.
what did that include?
Miscellaneous expenses, that's the cash shortage and overage account. Essentially, when they do their daily deposits at Lwcf, they will compare their cash on hand to their sales tape for the day. And if there's any overage or shortage, they will charge it to that account. So that, I believe it was a little more than $600. It's a negative value.
Right, 690.86.
Yeah, that indicates over the course of the fiscal year, there was an overage of around $600.
Does anyone have any questions regarding this information?
Thank you.
Did you have any questions, Rob?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. We didn't have any questions.
Thought there might.
Okay, you still going, right? Okay, because I know something, Lynrick. Brian, before you start that, did you discuss the Lynrick Enterprise budget fund for fees? Because that's an action item,
That was actually part of this presentation.
okay?
I was going to present the changes that we made to the general fund, pause, and then move on to Lynrick.
Okay, because that was an action, so that's why I was
Sure.
gonna discuss it later. Okay, go ahead.
On the evening, June 7th, the Richland County Council approved funding for all millage agencies at the no mill increase rate. The no mill increase rate allocated $15.55 million to Richland County Recreation Commission for their general fund for general operating purposes. For many millage agencies, including RCRC, this allocation was less than the requested funding for fiscal year '23. As such, we adjusted our recommended budget to the figures that is seen on this slide. We addressed the difference between our initial request and the approved funding levels in the following ways. Tuition assistance was adjusted. Due to the reduction in funding for fiscal year '23, we have made a decision to suspend the tuition assistance program for fiscal year '23. Opeb funding in the past.
What line is that?
Sure. So tuition assistance would be,
If someone's going to school.
No, I'm just looking for it on here. I didn't see it.
it's,
Right.
it's included under other administrative.
Can you point to that on the screen? I don't see.
Are you able to see my cursor?
I see other.
Okay,
Before
so
that-
it would
that
be
right
this
here?
line item
Right.
right here.
Okay.
It was roughly a $15,000 adjustment. We also made an adjustment to the Opeb funding line item. In the past, we've used a plug number to budget for Opeb funding. In recent years, this plug number has exceeded the actuarial determined employer contribution amounts that we actually fund the trust at. We did receive the ADEC amount for fiscal year '23 from the actuaries, and we were able to adjust the line item budget to the actuarial determined amount. And that would appear under the pension benefits and taxes line item. If you follow my cursor.
Okay, back up to the proposed expenses affected, tuition assistance and the OPEB, what is that?
Okay.
Opeb. It's a trust that we pay into annually, and it funds other retirement benefits for our employees. And so we have to fund this trust at a certain level each year to lock in a certain interest rate. And that amount that we have to fund at is the actuarial determined employer contribution rate. And so that's the amount that we adjusted the line item to.
And what is the LWCF grant expenses?
That's the Land Water Conservation Fund grant. In our initial budget, we included revenues and expenditures related to a grant project that was actually not awarded. We received word that grant was not awarded after we had proposed our original budget. We budgeted for $600,000 in capital improvement expenditures, and we included $300,000 in grant revenues. So essentially, there was a 50% match for RCRC. When that grant was, we were notified that that was not awarded, we took out those associated revenues and expenditures.
So you went from $1.1 million to 572?
Yep. Yeah, the difference is that 600,000 that we had budgeted.
So tell me exactly again how that went down? Because obviously the match from the county didn't. I mean,
Yeah, so the grant wasn't awarded. We applied for the grant, and one of the stipulations is we would have to match. So if they award a $300,000 grant,
have the money to
RCRC would have had to match it. So we built in the $300,000 in expenses that would have been covered by the grant funds, plus the $300,000 that would have been covered by RCRC.
And then the land conservation, where would that have come under? I'm sorry.
That would have been under capital improvement line item.
So that and the other stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's all because the county didn't fund us at the levels that we asked?
Yeah, that's correct.
So the grants weren't approved because we didn't have the money to match?
No, we actually, it's unrelated. We just received notification that we were not awarded the.
But the reason we weren't
grant.
awarded is because we didn't have the money to match? Is that a? true
No,
statement or
that's not a true statement.
Then why didn't we get the grants? Do you know? And if you don't
It's-
know, that's fine.
I don't know. It's competitive, and I think, it's partly probably partly because we haven't gone after a grant of that magnitude from
Haven't.
this funding source
So
in
I
a
was gonna
while.
say, have we done that
Yeah.
before?
Yeah, so
I mean, so
Um,
last year we didn't have that.
no.
either. Okay.
So we are working on some grants though, aren't we?
yes,
Work on the grants, we just didn't get them.
yeah,
Well,
it just
we're
wasn't
working on some
awarded.
new ones
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
so hopefully
yeah.
we'll get some because we need the grant money.
Yeah, we plan to continue to try to go after
Okay.
grant funding.
That's good.
So were there any
So is
other,
Is it smart to put that stuff, since we've never gotten them, or received them, excuse me? Is it smart for us to put it into the budget? Or should
We-
it like be put on the some side, like, hey, if we get it, great, then
yeah,
we can put it in the capital improvements. Is there another?
we wrestled with that decision, and ultimately we decided to include it because if the grant was awarded, we would have had to cover $300,000 in expenditures.
because you
And
match?
to not have that built in, it would have been,
Right.
it would have been difficult to find the funds to cover that.
What was
Okay.
the amount of the tuition assistance program?
$15,000.
And we couldn't come up with $15,000 for that project, for that program?
That was one of the first items because it is a discretionary spending type fund. And so it was one of the first items that we cut, like in making those decisions. And we did have, so the cuts that we made did actually exceed the $550,000 that we had to make up roughly. And however, we did have to allocate some of that funding to the IT line item as well. So you can see there's probably a slight increase in the IT expense category.
Okay, I'd like to, maybe we could look at that later
Okay,
after we approve this budget.
Okay.
To see if we can put that in and find the money from another area.
we can certainly have that discussion.
Okay, thank you.
So if there are not any other questions, I can move on to Lynrick.
Yes.
There was one adjustment made to the enterprise budget. We are requesting a small increase to cart rental fees to address the rising cost of fuel. We're proposing that fees would increase from $7.50 for 9 holes and $15 for 18 holes to $8 and $16 respectively. The reality that we're facing is costs have increased due to inflation, and we do need to adjust our pricing to cover these increased costs. Per Lynrick management, the approximate $28,000 that this would generate would cover their estimated increase in fuel costs.
I'd like to ask a question.
Sure.
Is that enough? Is that increase enough? Because it seems like a very little amount to me.
They indicated, and when I say they, Lynrick management did indicate that they believe that this level of increase would be enough to address the rising fuel costs. We did want to keep any fee increase, modest.
I've done a lot of people that go to play there a lot.
Yeah, I know.
So that would
right.
be, and I think the minute that you start raising prices, you don't want to turn them off to go to another location, so.
Right, I know we need to be
I
competitive.
think that they're
Okay,
pretty spot
that's
on
enough.
with their,
Okay. Just asking.
assessment. No, it's a good question.
Uh-huh.
It's a good question.
I'm just saying, since we read the budget, just want to make sure that's enough to cover the costs.
Like I said, in speaking with Lwcf management, they felt that that would be enough to cover their increased fuel costs. Are there any other questions in regards to Lwcf?
Anyone have any other questions regarding this budget? Okay, so.
Thank
on-
you.
On that, we need to take action on approving the enterprise funds request for an increase.
That's correct.
To make a motion to
Please.
accept the increase for cart fees at Lwcf, or the increase in the budget, whatever the proper way to state that is.
Okay.
Ryan, do you make the proposal just to accept the increase in the budget or in the
Mhm.
cart fees?
Right now, it's just the fees,
I
right?
think you can make a motion to increase the fees, and then the
Right.
resolution actually will cover both the general.
That
fund
comes
and
after this one.
Okay,
Yeah, we're just doing the fees right now.
all right. I'd like to make a motion to accept the increase in cart fees at Lwcf.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Lapine,
Yes.
Commissioner Lindsey.
Yes,
Commissioner Miller. Yes. Commissioner Mobley. Motion passed.
the motion has been seconded and approved. We'll now hear from First Citizens Wealth Management presentation.
Madam Chair and members of the commission, my name is James Bennett. I'm the area executive for First Citizens Bank. Although this is a presentation today from our wealth management group, I did want to take advantage of this opportunity to come before the commission and thank them for their vote of confidence. I guess it's been 9+ years that First Citizen has had a relationship with the commission. And from our point of view, it's been a good relationship, and we don't take that for granted. And so I asked Dave Lwcf if I could come tonight and speak a little prior to his presentation, just to say thank you. And from my experience, a banking relationship is and it's got to be two-sided. In my opinion, the commission has done and made their commitment over years to First Citizens. And we continue to look at ways where we can partner with you better to help the citizens of Richland County. And so we will enter into those dialogues in most recent times coming forward. So thank you so much. And I'm gonna turn it over to Dave Lwcf
Okay,
with our wealth management group.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Fantastic. Speaking the mic a little bit better.
Can you hear me okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you
better.
very much. At least I'm short, so I can be down by the mic. Good evening, everybody. We sincerely thank you for allowing us to make a brief presentation. We engaged with Ryan and Zana and Tamika Williams, and also your consultant, First Tryon, earlier this year. And we have had several substantive conversations in regards to reserve assets and operating assets that First Citizens has had in our direct deposit accounts. We wanted to come forth and show some different ways to be consultative to earn more revenue on those assets. As a result of those conversations, we are recommending to the board that First Citizens, and this is from the consultant and also Tamika and Ryan, that First Citizens managed $6 million of those assets in a customized treasury portfolio. And then the remainder of the assets that really come in and go out on an annual basis, the $9+ million, to either remain in a First Citizens DDA account or to be placed in the state pool account, the LGIP. My recommendation would be to have those assets in the LGIP. The LGIP rate currently is yielding 1.26%. That is much higher than the DDA credited rate at First Citizens today. Those monies can be pulled in and out of the state pool, very similar to like a money market type of account. So those assets can receive some a greater return on them than where they're currently parked. The assets that we're proposing on managing are $6 million. And as a result of conversation with your consultant and Ryan and Tamika, they feel comfortable that those are true reserve type assets that we have determined through a 24-month study of account balances coming in and coming out, that $6 million can comfortably be invested in a 0 to 3 year treasury portfolio. We are limited to what we can invest in because of state code 6510. Essentially, that allows governmental or municipal entities to invest in treasury type investments. Our team at First Citizens does quite a bit of business in this area. We bank, we have 150 banking relationships in South Carolina, like Richland County Rec, and we manage assets for about 60 of those entities, which comes to about $1 billion in assets that we manage for governmental entities in South Carolina. I mention those numbers because we're familiar with how you all work, and we're familiar with providing solutions in addition to the state pool to provide you for greater amounts of yield on your monies. In the handout, I'd like you to refer to pages 8 and 9. We put together a couple of portfolios for consideration. The one that we would recommend would be a portfolio that's equal weighted, 0 to 3 year treasury portfolio. So the duration of the portfolio is a little bit, just a little over a year and a half. The gross return on that portfolio as of July 8th, when this was put together, was 2.9%. Our fee to manage that portfolio is 0.35 of 1%. So the net yield would be 2.55% to Richland County Rec. That would create an additional amount of revenue for Richland County Recreation of a little over $153,000 versus where it's currently invested today. So that is certainly a way to provide the citizens and for Ryan and budgeting purposes, additional dollars to use at their discretion, which I think would be a benefit for the citizens, certainly of Richland County. The fee schedule in the presentation is shown on page 13. You'll see that it starts out at 45 basis points or 0.45 of 1% and grades on down based on size of assets. So based on $6,000, the anticipated $6,000, that's where I derived at the 0.35 fee that we would charge to manage that pool of assets. Or 6 million, yes, sorry. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions, any comments?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm a big fan of this concept. And I think that the biggest, most important thing you said, and sorry, your first name is
David?
David.
Yes, sir.
The first thing that you said was that it could bring us $153,000 over, on average, over, let's say, an 18-month period. Is that right?
Annually,
Annually, so 12 months.
Yep.
And the money's just sitting there.
that's correct.
But if there's a way that, I remember asking this question, when we did this presentation a couple of years ago,
Right,
that I thought was impactful and important, is that should everything go bad,
Mhm.
there's still a way that we protect the citizens' money, right? That you can get out of this. I mean,
Ye-
there's obviously a maintenance fee or something, but
Yeah, there's no withdrawal fees. All fees are incorporated in that 35 basis points. If there is a situation where you needed the $6 million, this portfolio would be liquidated and transitioned in 3 business days. There potentially could be what's referred to as a mark-to-market adjustment. If the bonds that have not matured have changed in value, then there potentially could be a slight loss in the value of the bond itself if not held to maturity. But there's no withdrawal fee or anything of that nature.
and so to my fellow commissioners, I want to say that I think this is a very strong way for us to create an extra $153,000 as a board for our citizens. That is, I don't think that is done. Maybe it's done in a lot of boards, but I think that, we've done a lot of good things on this board, in my opinion, such as, we reduced the millage rate on one of our deals, and I think that this also would be very impactful to, make a point to our citizens on what we're trying to do. And I mean, we heard them come in and talk about, Meadow Lake today and in the issues, and we need that money to make these repairs and maintenance, and that's what this money can be used for. And so, that's just my thoughts on it.
Thank you.
And I want to say I appreciate First Citizens and everything they've done for us.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
I agree with this. Any other comments or questions from everyone? Mr. Lwcf and Mr. Bennett, we appreciate you coming with your presentation, and we will definitely get back with you
Thank you very much.
and
Thank
keep
you
in touch with us
very
too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have no unfinished business. Therefore, we will continue with the new business. First, we'll have the budget resolution. This is an action item that Ryan spoke of earlier. So we need to approve the budget for fiscal year 2022 through 2023 budget for general and enterprise funds for the Recreation Commission. I need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the revised budget for fiscal year 2023
And enterprise.
and enterprise.
Madam
Sorry?
Chair,
Yes.
I think the motion would be more appropriate to accept the budget resolution, being that both of the items are under the budget resolution.
I thought that's what I said.
Is there
I'm
some
sorry.
verbiage for the public budget resolution, or is it just called budget resolution?
Okay, it's the budget resolution. Okay.
Yeah,
You need to-
I'll move to accept the budget
motion.
resolution.
Okay.
Commissioner Anderson, Commissioner Lapine,
Yes.
Commissioner Lindsey,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller. Yes. Commissioner Mobley, motion passed.
Okay. Motion has been second and is approved. Now, next we have the RCRC procurement award contract. Ryan, are you gonna present that or Tamika? Which one?
Yes, Ryan will be presenting for the ground maintenance service awards.
This is a new contract for the maintenance services for the grounds.
Now I can walk. That's fine. I can just talk. We'd like to present RCRC Procurement Award Contract 0001-2023 for the ground maintenance. RCRC used the invitation for bid process for this contract. Solicitation IBF 0001-2023 was advertised on the SCIBO website and the RCRC website, along with a copy in the admin building on 7th of June, 2022. Questions on solicitation were due by 10 a.m. on June 13th, 2022. And bids were due by 10 a.m. on the 20th of June. The solicitation was advertised for a total of 13 days. 4 bids were received. And the winning bid was US Lawns in the amount of $227,000. I'm sorry, $227,772. And that covers 12 locations serviced. The previous contract for the ground maintenance services was $280,000 annually. So the agency will save a total of $53,000 annually with this new contract.
Are there any questions regarding this contract?
Yes, I've got questions.
Mhm.
So I looked at the contract, and I'm not sure who put this together or how it was handled, but maybe they can answer, but let's just use the adult activity center, 8.84 acres. So tell me exactly what is US Lawns gonna do for us?
Sure.
I just couldn't figure that out.
The contract covers ground maintenance services to include contract mowing for these locations, for the acreage that's included in the document that you're referring to. I believe it also covers additional like ground maintenance services like leaf removal and things of that nature. Tamika, did you have anything to add?
No, that's correct. We would receive a scope of work from our property management with all of the properties that we would need to have covered under this contract. And we have specific sites that we do and we contract out to do. So this is the contract that we can put together, the property management put together with the team on what our needs were.
So, like, for instance, at Valentine Community Center, it says 20.5 acres. That would be all the fields out back, the baseball fields, the grass in between the track out there. That kind of stuff. They're gonna cut it on a once or twice a week or once a month.
Yes. Yes, they have a schedule, and it depends on the season. Of course, when they get to colder months, it's not as much.
Correct. And the question is, when I was looking at the bid prices, one was 939,000. And then obviously we went with the lowest bidder, US Lawns. And that's a huge discrepancy, but I guess you were at $280,000 for the exact same services we're gonna be getting this year. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yes.
Heritage provided these services for 280.
And Heritage didn't even bid on it this year?
No, they actually had to withdraw. They just did not have the staffing to keep up with this contract.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
I think I would like to see what all they're going to be doing at each site. It would be hard to say that they're doing the same thing for every single site. For instance, Friars Gate Park, when you say 19.37 acres, is that what's currently maintained?
Yeah, the acreage is what's currently maintained by Heritage, or what was maintained by Heritage for each of these locations.
I don't believe that is correct.
Well,
Tamika?
Tamika, can you weigh in? I believe,
Excuse me, what'd you say? I didn't hear the question.
She's questioning the acreage for Friars Gate Park. It shows us 19.37.
Can you speak up? I'm sorry, I can't hear.
I know for certain that Friars Gate Park, Heritage is not maintaining almost 20 acres. And are we paying for that?
And you said you want to see just the from for each site, the areas that they would be maintaining. We can provide the information.
Would be helpful, because if you're saying that's what you're doing now, we're paying them for something that they're not doing.
we can provide a comparison to the current scope of work.
So are these numbers new numbers, or is this what Heritage is supposed to be doing?
No,
Or
This is for the new contract, the acreage that will be serviced.
okay, yeah, I think it would great to see what, because each facility has a number of fields and flower beds and stuff. I think that we should probably see what is going to be done every single time.
Sure, we can provide that breakdown.
Okay. But I do like that we're saving.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Miller, I missed your comment.
I just said I did like that we were saving money.
Oh, okay.
Mika, does this have to be voted on by a certain, like, when is this contract supposed to go into effect?
August 1st is when we're trying to have it in effect. The lease, when our contract ended, I think it was the end of June with Heritage. Our staff has just been maintaining and trying to keep up with grass cutting, all of that. So we're trying to get this done as soon as possible. And August 1st was the date that we were looking to go into this agreement, this contract, to start the contract.
We have that information that I requested.
I could try to pull it tomorrow,
Okay,
get that out to the board members.
that would be great.
Mayor Bob, could we,
And I was just informed, I know one of the other staff, Tiana Henley is on the call as well this evening, so she's responding that the acreage for each, that's just the acres for each facility, because that was part of what they're just requesting of the entire property, but that's not on what they're cutting. They don't cut the athletic field area.
they're just maintaining the common areas and the. Well, no, I think that they're talking about.
Yes,
The front.
Yeah, it would just be good to know
It's-
exactly what.
Who cuts the fields? That's weird. Is that that's not included, right?
I think we
Um,
do.
Per Tamika, no, it's just the common areas. And this is, like I said, it's contract mowing services. So they primarily provide the mowing services for.
and we have
sites.
2 guys that cut the fields, or 2 of our guys that cut the fields.
That's what, yeah. We cut the fields. But if there's flowers and pine straw, all that kind of stuff to make them look pretty when you come in, that's what these guys do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The board would like to look into this a little bit. We'd like more information as to who cut the fields, the price of cutting the fields, and the price of just the common areas.
I think that the board is just, this is my opinion. Like if we're gonna save, if it's an apples to apples comparison, we went from 280 to 220, that's great. But I think as a board, since most of us are new, we need to understand, in myself, is like to understand maybe in some sort of email or something from Tiana or Tamika or whomever, to maybe get more specific. I mean, I think we could vote on this via email or, with Don Zeta putting something out there, but I think prior to that, I think the board's got to get comfortable. I mean, honestly, if it's 227 and there's paying 280 and it doesn't look good, then, I mean, I'll spend more money to make it look better if that's what we need, but we want to make sure that we're getting our bang for our buck. At least that's my feeling.
Mr. Lapine, Tiana was added just recently.
Yes.
as optional. If you have any,
I'm not ready to
specific
vote on
questions.
it tonight,
Okay.
is what I'm saying.
We're gonna table this.
Yeah.
And could they separate each individual park? What it would be,
Absolutely, we can get you that.
just to
information.
see where all that money is going. But thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we would like to table this issue until we get more information on the, what each contractor will be doing exactly and how much area they'll be covering. Next, we'll have the acting director's report.
Chair Lindsay, we have one more under new business. One more item under new business, waiver of fees.
I see it now. Waiver of fees for back to school event.
Yes, so the Project Unity USA, this is a nonprofit organization that turned in a waiver of fees. They want to do a gospel concert at Meadow Lake Park. This is also in partnership with Rcrc for one of the back to school bashes that will be held on that day as well. They will do the due to the gun violence in the communities, the schools, they felt that they was extremely important to kind of host a dual event, and they've actually asked to partner with us. And so they wanted the youth to also come and to participate with getting the backpacks and the school supplies. This will be part of a community outreach with the organization and partnering with Rcrc, giving out the school supplies. So we ask that you take a look at this, approve this. It's also what's going through a partnership. They have completed the necessary paperwork with us for the site, and they've also moved forward with the appropriate paperwork for the county to get permits and security for the event.
Did you have the
And this
waiver- a copy of it?
Yeah, it's not in our packet.
The event will be held on Saturday, August the 13th, from 12 to 3 p.m. at Meadow Lake.
Do you recommend this event?
Yes, I do.
Anybody have any objections to it?
It's good, it's good.
Okay, I need a motion, accept it.
Chair, I'll make a motion that we waive the fees for Project Unity.
Second? Yes.
Yes. Motion has second and approved. Next we have the executive director's report.
Okay. Thank you, Chair, and the rest of the board. My report will be brief tonight. For project updates, we have Friars Great Athletic Complex. We are waiting for the contractor to come out and paint the lines, put up signs, and install the handicap areas. For Richland County Recreation Commission, the tennis center, we are working on a few cosmetics for the site with the bleachers and the sidewalks. The sidewalks are being pressure washed. If some of you went over the weekend or even today, may have seen that they've started working on that, pressure washing the sidewalks and also repairing some of the cracks at the site. Windscreens will be going back up on the fences the latter part of next week. In reference to Kauffman Road Park, the underground, there was some underground wiring concerns that caused a safety issue at the site. There have been that way for quite some time. However, that has been repaired at the multi-purpose field right behind Kauffman Road Park Gym. It's a multi-purpose use field out there, and where they play football and all. So the underground wiring has been repaired, and now the lights are now working at the field. I know some people are glad to hear that. And then we have the parking lots. I know that there has been some concerns definitely over years about the parking lots. We are looking to, at what we can do about getting our parking lots repaired at various sites such as Meadow and Kauffman. And I will bring you further updates after we review that. Now we have our budget and things passed, we can see what we can do or go after additional funding to get a move on that. We are working with Richland County to get a MOA between Rcrc and Richland County detailing designated sites, roles and responsibilities for when an emergency or a disaster situation occurs. There was a previous MOA done, which was dated back 2015. However, that is outdated now and it needs to be revised. So we are working with the county to get that done. And then we'll bring it back to the board once it's complete. And I don't have any other items.
I have a question.
Concludes my report.
I have a question regarding Coffin Road Park. They also have a lot of potholes.
Yes, and that will be with the entire parking lot. And
And
the last meeting I did let everyone know that the crosswalk was completed on the other side, on the Kauffman roadside.
okay, and also a sign at Garners Ferry Road Adult Center. We still need a sign so you can. See,
Yes, we're working on signages.
Ron,
I just wanted to ask in a bigger picture, because you mentioned emergency MOA, stuff like that. And I just wanted, for my own edification, if there's a problem at a park, such as what we had at Friars Gate a couple weeks ago, where during the middle of a tournament, the sewer went out. Do we have every weekend or 24/7, do we have a property manager on call?
Yes,
There's a town property that's available 24/7 within our organization.
yes, we have someone that's on call.
Okay.
And that ends my report. Thank you.
I have a question. Like the activity, the tournaments and that
Mhm.
sort of thing. I want to know if we have a supervisor on call or a supervisor working the tournament, or what kind of employee or what title of employee do we have working these tournaments in case problems occur? Because they need to notify maintenance or anything we need. So we need to make sure an employee is at all the tournaments.
Or at least available, that
Right.
they have the contact
They
person.
need to, someone need to actually be on the ground. That's, I
Well,
read
yeah.
that in the policies.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure we have somebody from now on.
Yeah.
And
And from that situation, we are working internally to get those things in order and making sure that things like that doesn't happen again.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
anyone have any more questions? Okay, we'll now have Felicia Venable, Community Relations Manager, report.
Good evening, Madam Chair and board members.
Good evening.
Want to just talk about some of the events that occurred here at Richland County Recreation Commission in the last 30 days. This is gonna bring up the PowerPoint. Etiquette for Boys. This event is occurring in District 4 at Bluff Road Park. It was on June the 9th. We had over 30 people in attendance. The participants were engaged in activities that emphasize character education and positive self-esteem. We've gotten several positive comments on Facebook and social media. We even received a video. I received a text message from one of the participants' parents, and she said, "Hi, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Caden needs this male interaction. He's so excited that he learned how to tie a tie." And that came from one of the parents. So I commend the staff for hosting this event. So special thanks to Ira. He's a district supervisor for District 4. To Mr. Henry, he's a supervisor at Bluff Road Park. and to Mr. Tyrone. He is the supervisor down at Eastover Park. So I wanted to say thank you. The Roundup event was held at Pine Grove Recreation Center on June the 12th. They had 62 attendees. They had an ice cream truck. They had food prepared. And as you can see, they had horses and hay rides. The Juneteenth Kickball Jamboree was held at Parent Thomas Community Center on June the 18th. They had over 150 participants. And we'd like to say congratulations to the winning team, and that was Team Freedom. Another Juneteenth celebration was held at Eastover Park on Saturday, June the 18th, and they had over 40 people in attendance. As you can see, they had vendors in attendance and also a cookout. Rcrc summer camps are in full effect. They started on June the 13th and will run through August the 5th. They're held at Blythewood Park, at Kauffman Road Park, at Friars Gate, North Springs, Polo Road, Eastover Park, Hopkins, Killian, Meadow Lake, St. Andrews. As you can see, those are the children that are at St. Andrews Parks with arts and crafts and playing Uno and smiles on their faces showing their artwork. There was an ice cream social held here at the Park Lane Adult Activity Center on July the 8th. They had over 43 participants. Everyone in attendance asked when the next ice cream social was going to be held. So I'm quite sure they're going to have additional events here at the Adult Activity Center. Also, our Rec to Go events were held at Crossroads and Starlights, as they're pictured here. Also at Crane Forest and Killian Park and Olympia Neighborhood Park. We partnered with Healthy Blue and Richland County Library. We'd like to say kudos to our community outreach coordinator, AD. He did a wonderful job this year. This event came about because of COVID. We could not go, the community could not come to us, so we went to the community. So this is our third year hosting the Rec to Go event. Also not pictured here, I just wanted to say thank you to Commissioner James Mobley. For June, it was the Men's Health Month, and in celebration of the Men's Health Month, we had a luncheon on June the 23rd at Newcastle Trinamakers Community Center. So thank you, sir, for your attendance. Our upcoming events. We're hosting Reading Under the Lights and the Back to School Bash at Kauffman Road Park on July the 29th. We'll have a back to school bash and giveaway on August the 2nd through August the 20th. We have several. They're posted on our website, but they'll be throughout the county. We'll have them at the Eastover Park, at Polo Road Park, at St. Andrews Park, Bluff Road, and the Pine Grove Community Center. Also, we'll have the Love Yourself event here at Park Lane. And this is going to be a health fair on August the 22nd. We'd like to invite everyone out to the all-white affair at the Gardens Ferry Adult Activity Center on August 26th, and the Power and Pink also at Gardens Ferry, September the 9th. That concludes community relations presentation. Did you have any questions or comments?
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I guess I'm still missing out on some of these events. So I'd like to be reminded maybe sometime, because I love attending. One other one you didn't mention, the cowboy, the West. The Wild Wild West, right. That should be really nice too. So thank you very much. I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
The Wild Wild West event at Bluff Road Park in the end of August only has reservation spots.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll now need a motion to go into executive session.
Can I make a motion that we move to executive session?
Second.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Lapine,
Yes.
Commissioner Lindsey,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Mobley. Motion passed.
Thank you. Nothing was completed.
Chairwoman, I think you've lost the,
I'm sorry.
you've lost your forum. I would just declare the meeting to be adjourned.
Okay.
Motion.
This meeting is adjourned.